Happy Monday, leaders. I hope you guys are doing amazing out there. Welcome to another episode of the NBR Show. Today, we're going to be chatting with amazing entrepreneurs as always, learning about their challenges, their successes, but more importantly, how they're contributing to our community. So, you know, I like to start the show. I love music. So, shout out to Canton Jones, Boss Way. I don't own the copyright to this song, but I love it. Enjoy with me. Now I walk like a boss. So what's a boss? What is a boss? You know, a boss is a leader, in my opinion. You lead your life with purpose, with confidence, with clarity. Boss, boss, boss. Well, welcome officially. Happy Monday, leaders. I hope you guys are doing amazing. As I was mentioning, what is a boss? I believe a boss is somebody who takes leadership over their life. They lead their life with purpose, with confidence, with clarity. And you don't have to have a specific job title, career title to be a boss or a leader, but it's how you lead your life. So, welcome again to the NBR Show. I'm your host, NBR, aka Mrs. Darby. And I'm super excited to be here with you all today for another episode of the NBR Show. So let's just talk a little bit about who am I? Why do I do the show? What's my mission? So I do the show really for you all out there. Maybe you're an entrepreneur, you're thinking of starting your own business, and it's tough. I know, because I'm one. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and it is challenging, but it's also so rewarding. And I do believe a big part of entrepreneurship is the learning curve, adjusting and being adaptable to being able to pivot in terms of certain circumstances, to be able to meet your customer, your client's needs, and more importantly, that you love what you do. Because when you do love what you do, it's going to give you that momentum to keep going when things get tough. And truth be told, it's only a matter of when. There are challenges. And a lot of what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of the challenges, but how do you overcome those challenges? So, as mentioned, my name is Natasha, aka NBR Mrs. Darby. I got married last year, October. So I'm still fairly newlywed, excited for that journey. And it's been going really well. My purpose in life, I think this is the question I want to focus on today. As you know, we talk a little bit about a tip of the day, a boss tip of the day. I want to focus on purpose because I do believe that we all have a God given purpose. And when we find our purpose, we do find our life. I mean that wholeheartedly. Now, for me, I believe my purpose is to inspire, to motivate, to empower as many human beings as I can around the world to really believe in who you are, to own your greatness, to walk in your God given purpose and achieve those big goals and those big dreams. Now, my mission really is to do my part to end poverty, suicide, bullying, depression, just to really uplift our society. So that's really what I'm on route to do. I am the founder and CEO of NBR Strategic Solutions, and I offer coaching, speaking, and consulting services to help entrepreneurs, corporations, and nonprofits with achieving their business goals. I also do a bit of one-on-one private coaching on a personal career development level. So if you're ever interested in chatting with a coach, a consultant like myself, feel free to reach out, book your complimentary chat at natashabrussell.com. My background is in communications and PR. Believe it or not, I was doing that for about 17 years. So that's a big part of what I do in my services, focusing on strategy. Many of you who know me, I always talk about strategy. So you want to achieve a goal. What do you need to achieve your goal? You're going to have to be super clear on your vision, super clear on where you're going, where you're heading. What do you want to achieve a year from now, 5 years from now, a decade from now? Because once you have a visual picture of what you're working toward achieving, you're 9 out of 10 times more likely to achieve that vision. But you need a strategy to support it, to execute on it. So I'm a strategist. I work with, like I said, a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, corporations on how do we share your brand? How do we communicate that brand with confidence? So a little bit about me. For those of you who are watching, welcome Facebook, welcome LinkedIn, welcome YouTube. Feel free to put your questions in the comment section. If you have any questions, I do have the lovely Daniel Lawrence Lopez with me today. I'm excited to have him on shortly to chat about his entrepreneurial journey and sharing a little bit about his bio. I remember when I met Daniel, I met him through an event that I went to meet with another friend. So I got invited from a friend to this really lovely gala last Christmas. Oh, how time flies. It feels like it was just the other day, but yeah, December. And he was at our table, him and his brother, and he was just dressed to the nines. We like dress. I like to dress up. My husband likes to dress up, but he was dressed to the nines, young entrepreneur, and he really exuded a lot of confidence. And I just loved the way he carried himself. And then I had my Rise Up conference, leadership conference, and he came. And so we sort of connected there. And now I'm excited to hear about what he's been doing. I know he is the co founder of Role Model, love the name. And so we're going to be chatting with him a bit about that in about 10 minutes. So stay tuned for that. Get your questions ready. He's so young. I say young because he's like in his early 20s. I remember those days. I don't think I was thinking about business in my early 20s. I know I was, where was I? I was at a law firm. I was thinking about maybe I want to be a lawyer. I had no clue if I wanted to even think about starting a business. So I find it really intriguing when you find younger, men, women who are super purpose driven at such a young age. And I know that he's going to be super successful. So I'm excited to have this opportunity with him today. All right. So now that we talked a little bit about that, let's focus on my tip of the day. So what exactly is that? And I do want to bring it up. I alluded to it before. It's really around purpose. So, I love definitions. Purpose, the reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. The reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. So, my question to you out there, are you fulfilling your purpose? Do you know your purpose? And if you don't, it's totally okay because I didn't really realize my purpose until my late 20s, early 30s. And I think our purpose evolves with time, with growth, with understanding who we are. And I really want us to take some time out in your career, your business, your day to day. Maybe you're just starting out, or maybe you've been in your career for years and you're looking for a change, whatever it may be. The whole key to purpose, I believe, equals fulfillment. Purpose equals true fulfillment. And that's something that nobody, no matter who they are, can take away from you. So, like I said in the beginning, when you find your purpose, you find your life. So, take a moment to think about, hey, am I on, am I living and walking in my purpose? Do I enjoy what I do every day? Or am I just existing? Am I just existing or am I truly living? Sometimes we don't really want to ask ourselves these deep hearted questions because it forces us to really be true to us. Awareness is key, right? It really forces us to look within. So here's my tip for you this week. Spend some time thinking about who you are as an individual. And more importantly, who do you want to become? And it's not an overnight, it's a journey. Life is a journey. So be kind to yourself along this walk called life. Life is full of obstacles, challenges, joy, successes, victories, but it's life. And so take a moment to find out what really fulfills you and follow that. Follow that train. Trust that God is going to lead you in the right path. So, purpose. Take a moment, think about it. It might take you a while, and I hope it doesn't take you a lifetime, but you start to really think about what impact you want to make in this life, in your life, in the community. All right. I'm big on gratitude. So before we bring Daniel on, I want to take a moment to talk about gratitude and why I believe it's so important to start your day. I've heard a lot of stories, especially around the pandemic, people who have been going through such a hard time dealing with isolation, not having somebody around that they can connect with. It's been hard on a lot of people. We've been talking a lot about mental health, and it's important. Everybody needs to think about their mental health. And there's a lot of people who have, unfortunately, committed suicide because they felt like they lost hope. And if you're on the end of the screen and you're going to watch this back and you're saying, I'm feeling at a place where I feel so overwhelmed, I want to encourage you that there's help out there and that By saying you need help doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. And one thing that I focus on completely every day is mindset. I talk a lot about mindset. If you want to categorize me, I'm a mindset coach, transformational speaker as well, involved in the speakings I do and the strategy. Why? Why do you think that is? Because if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right thoughts, they're going to either your thoughts lead you somewhere. Your thoughts lead you to achieving a desired outcome or potentially not. Your thoughts can debilitate you from getting out of bed or feeling like you want to move or you want to achieve or try and attempt certain things throughout your life. Your mindset dictates your behaviors. Your behaviors is a part of your actions and results to your success or not success. And so I want you to think about your thoughts. What are you thinking about? So I start my day every day with a gratitude moment. And truth be told, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I say to myself is, thank you, God, for waking me up in my right sound mind. Thank you, God, for waking me up in my right sound mind. This has become a habit. I've been doing it for over probably a decade because every day is a gift. And I think once we realize that every day is indeed a gift, we look at our life differently. We appreciate things so much more. And so I want to encourage you to think about what you're grateful for every day. You know, a big part of what my family and I do before bed, we do, we read the Bible, a chapter from the Bible. We talk about what that means to us, and then we talk about gratitude. What are you grateful for today? And we do this every day. So no matter what you may be going through on that day, you remind yourself that I always have something to be grateful for. And so I want to encourage you out there to build that habit of gratitude, of pouring into your mindset, of feeding yourself good things, reading good things, watching good things, because there is so much negativity out there that if you focus on the negative, it will literally impact how you think, how you feel, and how you operate. All right. So I'm going to get ready for my guest here and jump in. I'm going to play him a little bit of a intro song. So I like intro songs. It might as well just be my song. I'm gonna read his bio. Let me get his lovely headshot on the screen. Look at this handsome young man, Daniel Lawrence Lopez. So let's talk a little bit about who Daniel is. Daniel is a young and driven entrepreneur located in Calgary, Alberta. Anybody know? If you guys are out in the US, I know I have audiences globally. Calgary, Alberta, beautiful little city over here. He currently runs his own advisory practice in the financial sector and is the co-founder of the brand and podcast Role Model. He started his first business venture at 9 years old and has since gone on to be involved in the e-commerce space, videography, and then landing into finance for the past several years. He has a heart for his generation and upcoming entrepreneurs to empower them so that they can be a better role model in their industry. Hence why I'm chatting with Daniel today. I feel like there's such an alignment there. And so let's get ready to introduce him. So wherever you are, Daniel, you can rock with me. Behind the scenes, it's gonna be good times. Okay. All right. Well, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Wonderful. And I just want to quickly check. I changed my location. So how's the sound in your end and for the viewers?
I'm still hearing myself. Unfortunately, an echo. I hope it's the same for there, but feel free on the comment section if you're hearing it. So maybe your so I'm hearing myself. Can you try this today?
Yeah, how about now?
Hello? Yes. I'm not
Is it good now?
echoing. Yes, that's wonderful. Good job.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Daniel, welcome to the NBR Show. You know, I'm all about inspiration, motivation, empowerment. And I look at you as such a young leader doing such great work in your community. I know you had your first, I'm assuming, annual role model event. How did it go?
It went really well. So we you know what, and I don't know if it's going to be annually, it might be more often.
Okay.
probably biannually, maybe quarterly. But it was phenomenal. So we had it at the Ranchman's Club, which is located in downtown Calgary. It is not, for those of you that are watching that are from Calgary, it is not the Ranchman's Club, that bar along McLeod. It's not that. It is the private club in downtown. For those of you not from Calgary, a little bit of history there. It's one of the top 100 platinum clubs, private platinum clubs internationally across the world, and the only one in Alberta. Started in 1891. The founders that created Calgary built this as a place to strategize. So it's very elite, very posh, very prestigious, very classy, which is part of why it made a lot of sense for the type of vibe, type of the event. So and it was a total god thing how that happened, but big shout out to a good friend of mine, Michael Siervo, who helped sort of get my foot in the door there. And yeah, it was amazing. 40 entrepreneurs. Tickets sold out the week before, and one of the most common things that a lot of these entrepreneurs said was, I've never been to an event like this in Calgary before, which is exactly what we were going for. So I was like, okay, sweet. And everyone's like, hey, when's the next one? And I was like, well, that wasn't the intention, but based on the success of this, we're going to have a next one. So we're looking at in the summer. Stay tuned for deets. But if you're in the Calgary area, yeah, it went really well. A lot of lives were impacted, and it was very different than events I've been to.
Love it. I can't wait to see the date for that and hopefully I can attend. So, why don't you just tell me a little bit about, and for those who are watching, who will watch, who is Daniel Lawrence Lopez?
And good question. I'm a son to two amazing parents, Shibu and Claudia Lawrence. I've been really blessed and privileged to have parents who encourage and fostered that entrepreneurship spirit, but also gave you know not just their time and energy, but their relationships that they have built within the business community. Yeah, so big shout out to my parents. I am someone who enjoys taking risks. Anything to do with adrenaline, I'll probably be doing it or have done it or am about to do it. And I enjoy creating things. As a kid growing up, I love Lego. So when it came to starting my own business when I was 9, which was just collecting cans or bottles and going to a deposit, I did that by door knocking. I just went door to door, ask people for cans or bottles. And so anything that involves the ability to create something, um, I like that. I like that idea, which is why I'm a business. And through that, being able to help people make some money, do some cool things. So yeah, so you'll find me with the cool people, but also with the not cool people, because I love people, and I'm a man of faith. I am a follower of Jesus, and it's a big, well, it's a foundation for my life in the way that I run my business and navigate my relationships. So yeah, I hope that answers that question.
Yes, very full-fledged. I appreciate that. And I do love that. I think sometimes we're afraid to share our faith because of what may, external forces, social media, who knows. But I love that you're always talking about your love for Christ. I too am a Christian, obviously, and I share that in
Right.
my content. And I feel like it's really about, loving each other, and people can choose whatever they want. Just respect our faith and I'll respect yours. That's just how it is, a mutual understanding. So I love that you have that and it guides your life. Now, where are you originally from? Were you born and raised in Calgary, Alberta?
Yeah, born and raised here. Me and my two younger siblings, but my mom is from Guatemala and my dad is from the south part of India. So
Oh,
uh,
nice.
yeah, so Indian and Guatemalan.
Okay, lovely. Well, I was born in Calgary, Alberta. As you probably know, my parents are from Jamaica. Can't wait to go back very soon. But let's talk a little bit about what you do for fun. So you were alluding to the fact that you love adrenaline. So have you
Yeah.
gone skydiving?
Not yet. That's the plan this summer. I'll be going skydiving in a suit.
Okay.
I mean, it's part of what I do. I have to wear, I wear suits, but everyone's like, "Oh, Daniel, were you born in a suit?" I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna skydive, I'm gonna do it in a suit because who does that, right? So, yeah, so skydiving's on the list in a couple months. I've done, ATV, like side by side. I snowboard here and there. I like to drive fast things, so exotic cars, things like that. I paintball. Yeah, like I almost died 2 years ago from an ATV accident. I flipped it. Wasn't wearing a helmet, no seatbelts. I got tossed out. There's an accident, a machete that was in the back that flew out as well.
Wow.
Cut my whole forehead open, had a concussion, 15 stitches. One of the cuts was all the way down to my skull. And and then I was good to go in like 3 days. And that was a total God thing. So that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so anything that involves like, the risk of death, I find it's generally more fun. But that's just me. That's just me.
That's crazy. Crazy, 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 but yet you still go. Good. Definitely a man of faith. I'm like, "I will not skydive.
Yeah.
I will do parasailing maybe, but I'm definitely not skydiving. I love my life too much. Why risk it?" Going on a roller coaster is for me as adventure as it goes, I think, but, good
Sure,
for you. So
sure.
let's
Yeah.
talk about entrepreneurship, which is really why we're here.
Mhm.
You know, as a fellow entrepreneur, starting a business is never easy, especially when you're building a global brand or a brand itself, like depending on what you're working to accomplish. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about role model? Where did that idea come from? And then what are some challenges you've experienced in starting, your business?
Totally, yeah. So, uh, I'll take it back a little bit, and I do want to preface, it's me and a good friend of mine, Kingsley, Adai. It's both of us that started role model in this
Yeah.
past January. But where it really started was I graduated high school and I wanted to get into business. And so good family friends of ours, practically like they were family. Andrew and Natasha, they were successful doing Amazon FBA and private labeling. And this was before you had the sexy YouTube ads. You could, drive a Lamborghini if you just bought the course. Like this is before any of that. And this is in Canada, right? So this is probably about at least 6 years ago when they were doing this. So they were on the cusp of it exploding, like right before it exploded in Canada. So they were doing well, and they took me under their wing because they saw my hunger, my passion for business, and again, being an entrepreneur before that was a career, before that was sexy.
Yeah.
So Andrew took me under his wing, and I call him Uncle Andrew because they were family, and he helped me launch two brands, but one brand we launched with him and his nephew Kingsley, who's we co-host our podcast and stuff together. And so it was the three of us. We were going to start a clothing line called Role Model. The idea was to highlight and to feature everyday superheroes to give recognition to those that made a positive impact in the community that would otherwise never be recognized because that's not them, right? To go and showboat. So I like to say, God bless Cardi B, but she's not the most positive influence in society. So we're like, okay, well, there's those figures that are out there, but can we give something different, right? And can we highlight your first responders, your vets, your local entrepreneurs, your teachers, your parents, people that change, that make that change, but no one talks about them, right? So that was the idea. And ultimately, we wanted to feature articles of our clothing every month on those stories. We would collect stories from them, right? And we would say, hey, this is firefighter Joe's story of how he did, such and such, and now he's doing this in the community. Cool. We just made it, a two-piece, some loungewear based on his story, sort of after his personality. And ultimately, we wanted to build a community where people were sending stuff in and like, hey, my uncle's doing this. Like, like, can you want to feature him? Yeah, that's an awesome story. Let's feature it next month. So
Mhm.
we wanted to create this sort of community around Role Model as a brand, and we had everything ready to go. I was already writing the press releases. Website was good. We had the logo. We had a first product, which was those selfie lights that you clip on your phone. It's like the LED ring light.
Yes.
Yeah. So that
Yes.
was our first product. We launched that, started selling it, and
Okay.
right before we had launched the clothing side of things, Andrew got diagnosed with colon cancer, and then he passed away
Oh,
6 months
no.
later.
I'm
So we
sorry.
actually Thank you. Yeah, no, and we actually never fully launched Role Model, and so that happened, and that got put on the back burner, and that's when I switched into the industry I'm in, which is financial services, right? So insurance investments, and because my parents were doing that for 15 years, and they were Andrew and Natasha's financial advisors. So my dad gave me Andrew's life insurance death benefit check and got me to go into the house and deliver it to Natasha and be like, hey, he's not coming back, but here's $1 million.
Yeah.
And that was pivotal for me. That's, really that was the nail in the coffin that got me, to work with my parents, but to work in the finance industry. Cause I'm like, you know what, you can make as much money as you want, but if you do not know how to protect it and pass it to the next generation,
Mhm.
you've been working for 40 years. What are you going to have to show for it if it's gone like this when you pass away? Right. So then January comes, and the last 2 years during COVID, I have been doing Facebook and Instagram lives almost every weekend, twice a week for almost 2 years, a year and a half. So transitioning to a podcast wasn't too difficult because I had been used to speaking on camera.
Yes.
But I didn't know how to do a podcast. I didn't have the resources, the equipment, nothing, right? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stick to just using my phone. It's easy, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I really felt, really just God saying like, do a podcast. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do a podcast. I need a name, right?
Hmm.
And I was just having coffee with a friend. I'm like, I need a name. I don't have a name, da da da. Then the name role models, boom, like right in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about role models since Uncle Andre passed away. I was like, I got goosebumps, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I still have the Google Drive folder with our business plan, the vision, our SOPs, everything was on there. So it's literally plug and play at
Hmm.
that point. I was like, easy. I'm like, yeah, role model. So I get the logo design. I send it to Natasha because she still mentors me in business, right? So I
Okay.
sent it to Natasha and I say, Natasha, like, I want to start this podcast called the Role Model Podcast. And she said, Daniel, I don't know if you knew this, but Andrew was going to start the Role Model Podcast after you had launched the clothing brand.
Wow.
And I
So
was like,
alignment without
yeah,
even knowing, eh?
100%. And I'm going back to Google Drive, and I'm like, that's the reason why we collected stories was because eventually we are
Mhm.
going to get them on our role model podcast, so we could have that in step with the clothes that we launched. I was like, this guy's genius. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then that's when I hit up Kingsley, and I'm like, brother, like this is what's going on, and he was of course on board, and so we I guess really relaunched Role Model end of January 2022,
Mhm.
and then started with a podcast and branched out to doing events. So now we do sort of a men's get together once a month at different like other local entrepreneurs or restaurants or whatever that is, and had our first entrepreneurs event, more like experience, last month in April. So yeah, so that's the starting. That's how it started, and the brand hasn't changed. It's still, hey, let's highlight people that make a positive impact already, and let's get them, let's put them on the map.
I love it. Wow, what a story. I just say, God works in mysterious ways, just how
100%.
everything happens and just full alignment. And then, you touched a little bit about the insurance piece, and I know we're focusing more on role model, but I did want to give you a chance to talk a little bit about the insurance piece that you do and how that does help families, because I think that's something that, especially in certain communities, they're not really versed on the importance of having life insurance and how that can support the next generation, right? I'm really big on the next generation, as are you. So, what are some things you might say to somebody what's the first step if they're looking into insurance? Because you've heard about um, different levels of insurance fraud, or, who do you actually trust? What do you look for when you're looking for an advisor to help you with your insurance needs?
It's a great question. The first thing would be, do they understand it well enough themselves? Go in with a set of questions to ask. One of them could be, how do you determine the need for insurance? Right? Every advisor, typically a good advisor, has a either formula or a step-by-step process on how they determine how much insurance someone needs. So if someone sells you a policy, says, hey, you need 100 grand, and then you buy it because it sounds nice, they're not a skilled or professional advisor because they gave you that coverage based on what. So you want to know, okay, if you're offering me this coverage, thank you, but what is this based on? Make sure
Mhm.
they're able to properly explain it to you. Um, eh, think of it like, I mean, there's yeah, so many faucets. I mean, yes, ask them questions. Have a lot of questions. Be ready to ask them, and keep in mind too that going to an advisor versus going to the actual insurance company does not save you any money. The way that prices are designed is, I don't charge anything to my clients for them to use my services because I get compensated by the insurance company. So there's
Exactly.
no extra cost for using a broker. So if you can find a good one, you want to keep them on your side, because most brokers that are good, that are skilled, that are professional, are well connected in the financial industry. So you get a good insurance broker, he's going to know, or she's going to know, a good mortgage broker, and they'll also know a good lawyer and a good accountant and a good realtor. So you're not just getting an insurance broker, right? You're typically getting a whole network of people that can help you with your money. You want to have your own team, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to your money, right? To your finances. And if you get a good insurance broker, you're actually going to get more than just a guy that can sell you life insurance or a gal that can sell you life insurance. You're getting someone that's bringing not just their own expertise, but a whole team to help support you, make sure that you're able to do what you want to do, right? Whatever that is, right? So
What insurance agency do you work for?
yeah, so I'm proud to represent Eau Claire Partners, based like local, based here in Calgary. And
Okay.
again, it's a brokerage, so we work with over 20 different insurance companies. But yeah, that's where my represent is Eau Claire Partners.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, well, thanks for that segment because I was watching a few videos on that, and I know it's something that people don't want to talk about. For one, do I need it? And it's unfortunate, but yes, you do need life insurance, people, especially if you have kids. Okay, so
100%.
um, get it. If you don't have it, look into it. Ask some really good questions, and make sure you're set up for now and for later. Right? You don't want to be. The thing is, we're gonna all die one day. Unfortunately, we don't know when. We don't want to think about it, but it is something that's actually guaranteed. So why not protect your investments and ensure that you're taken care of properly and your family is? That's really the key there. So let's talk a little bit about going back to role models. So I love it. So challenges really, it sounds like the fact that, your partner passed away and like that sat for a bit, then it got reinvigorated. Now you've actually been pushing forward the podcast, now with events, looking at quarterly events to impact those that are not really recognized in the community, like our underserved heroes, I consider them to be. Now, what are some of the positives or the rewards of being an entrepreneur?
So I think you're able to see the direct impact that you're making, and you're in control of that to an extent, right? So it's being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of definitions, but one definition I saw is someone who's taken above average risk for an above average reward, at the same time serving individuals. And so being an entrepreneur, you literally the only way you make money is by solving problems. That's literally the only way that you're making money. So the bigger problem you can solve, the more you're going to get paid. And the beauty of being an entrepreneur is you get to choose what problems you want to solve, how you want to solve it, and then how many of them you want to solve. And that's under your control, right?
Mhm.
Now, obviously there's a lot of things that come with that, but I think that's the beauty is you set your vision, you cast it out, and then you follow through with that.
Absolutely. Like I talked about vision, right? Without the vision, people perish. And you have no
Yep.
vision, where are you going? And I think
Yep.
sometimes we become these little, for lack of a better word, but like robots. Some people are just robotics, right? You're
Mm,
taught to go to school, get a degree, get a trade, whatever, work for the rest of your life, take a vacation maybe for once a year or twice if you're lucky, and you do this repeatedly. And I think sometimes people feel like there's a lot of people who want to start their business or who
yep.
have great ideas, but what I know for sure out of a lot of this entrepreneurs I've surveyed and potential entrepreneurs is the fear of failure, the fear of what if nobody buys my product, or the fear of
Yep.
what will people think if I say I'm starting my business. What would you say to somebody who has that exact same mindset, has a great idea, but they're afraid to step forward?
So yeah, that's a loaded question. I mean, one thing you have to ask yourself too is, well, what exactly is that? Is that fear? More often than not, it's the fear of failure, and not even the fear of failure. It's you don't want to look bad in front of other people, and some of it might come from, usually it's experiences you've had as a kid, where you've gone through a form of rejection with family,
Mhm.
where you've let them down in one way or another, and you have this idea, but you don't want to be that individual to let them down again. So and a lot of it is that you don't want to give them reason for them to point a finger at you and laugh and say, "Ha, look at you falling on your face again," just like you did when you were, in grade 4 and you didn't make the baseball team. Like,
Mhm.
great job. Now you're doing that again. And you might have to go through that, and it sucks. And that's, I think, a big reason, part of that fear. If you really ask yourself that why question,
Yeah,
um,
fear of rejection is really
yeah,
what you alluded to, right? And it's so true. Some of the things we've dealt with in childhood, we don't even see how it plays in our adult life because we
yeah,
haven't either actually acknowledged it or dealt with it. And so we're still living in that trauma and
mhm.
wondering how we can't create new things. So I love that you noted that. So what would you say to the person who's like, yes, I've been knocked down 10 times. I don't know about you. Entrepreneurship is not easy. I think you're always learning, you're always evolving, what's working, what's not. You're pivoting, you're shift. I got to read Michael's book. We were supposed to
Yep.
go for coffee this past weekend. He wasn't feeling well. The weekend before, I wasn't feeling well. So we're
Oh,
like, okay, we're definitely getting together
yeah,
after
yeah,
the weekend. But
yeah.
what would you say then? So yes, understand your why, but then how do you push forward? Because it's not easy, Daniel. And I think we need to talk about those stories of, when you felt like potentially giving up, although you couldn't. How did you keep going? Have you ever had a time where you felt? I know you're still so young, but you're still very knowledgeable, and I don't want to use that against you in any way. I'm not using that as a caveat, but have you ever had a moment when you're like, I'm frustrated. I don't even know if I can push forward on this. What gives you that momentum to go again?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a couple things that I do personally,
Mhm.
and here's the thing is it's not a one time thing that you experience that feeling. You experience it usually on like a weekly to a monthly to a quarterly basis. So some of the things is one, remember your wins, right? Remember those successes you've had. Just go back to those moments. How did you feel? What was that like, right? And really embrace that too. Um, so one thing I do actually, maybe in regards to that, is I have an album. This is very practical for those that are listening. I have an album on my photos in my phone. I just titled it inspiration, and I screenshot all the messages that I've gotten from people who message me, text me, comment, let's say, bro, thank you so much for doing this live or saying this or posting this video. Like you have, this did this for me or this did this for me. And so I've screenshot, at least I try to screenshot most of them or save these videos that people send, just thanking, just being grateful and how their lives have been changed. And so I look back on that and be like, okay, like it's for these people, right? That you want to continue moving forward. But the second thing too, which is huge, is community, right? You want to be around individuals that are also winning, that are also succeeding. As much as, yes, you can learn from failure, you get at least I get very inspired by seeing other people win as well,
Yeah.
right? And so be around a circle of people that are, that are in the same journey as, as you, but are moving forward, and get with people too that are operating at a higher level than you. I'm just starting to get into circles and becoming good friends with individuals that what I want to make in a year, they're making in a month, right? Some of these are making every couple of weeks. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, um, we got the same issues. They're just have them just a little bit of a higher degree. But guess what? There's days when I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, bro, let's grab a coffee. This is how I'm feeling. And it's just like you have that community, and they pick you up, they, slap your, in the behind, and get you going. So uh yeah, keep community and just going back to those wins. Like really, I think it's underrated, but like um or it's not looked at enough. Really go back to those wins and those successes you've had.
I love that you shared that. So what I basically heard in a nutshell is gratitude. You know,
Yeah.
I like that inspiration. Looking back at all the people who've been grateful for what you've done, your small wins, your bigger wins, reminding yourself where you came from and where you're going. And then secondly, I love that circle. Surround yourself with positive, successful people, people that are achieving more than you, that are at a higher peak, a higher level in terms of, maybe responsibilities, or, like they've done it and they're doing it. And one other thing that you did, I want to know, because I think that's something that we struggle with as entrepreneurs, mainly even more so sometimes as women as men. Maybe I think women are able to be more vocal, but vulnerability is
Mhm.
asking for help. You said, like, if I'm having a day, you'll reach out to your crew, your team, your support crew, and they'll elevate you, support you, and give you that inspiration or that motivation to keep going. And I think that's sometimes where people fall short, is they feel afraid to say I'm in a tough spot or I'm feeling like this. And that's where we need to break those barriers. And I love that you noted that. So Daniel, it's been so great having you today. I feel like this was a chat that could continue forever. Um,
Totally.
Obviously we don't have forever, but I do want to wrap up with um, two things, because I'm big on success. And I always say that success means different things to different people, and that it's super important that we define success for ourselves. How do you define success?
Um, I mean, do you have 2 hours? Yeah,
We got 5 minutes.
sweet. Okay. So I guess very quickly, I define success as you're progressing towards a vision that God's, put in your heart, like really to keep it simple. And the closer I'm getting to that, I believe that success is really that progress. I mean, there's the cliche, success is not a destination, right? It's a journey. There's a lot of merit to that, a lot of truth to that. But I also think too, success is also hitting those goals, right? Yes, of course, it's different for everybody because we all got different goals, right? We all got, different vision. But I think that progress towards that vision and hitting those goals, I believe that's success. And whether it's having better relationships, better health, better business, better cash flow, whatever that is,
Mhm.
hitting those goals, getting closer to the vision is how I define success.
I like that you noted that. Yes, the vision that God put in your heart. And I always say this because sometimes people they question that. And sometimes I do, because the vision is so big. I'm like, why?
Yep.
But then I have to remind myself that if God gave me the vision or gave you the vision out there, that you're more than equipped to achieve it. And we
Mhm.
have to just trust the process, walk by faith, not by sight. And that sometimes can be so hard because we're used to being, tangible creatures where we can see things and feel things and receive that almost instant gratification or reward. And that's not usually how it is. So I like that you noted that success really is you walking in your purpose, like what I started with. And that's, the journey of achieving those small wins is going to lead into that bigger vision that God has placed in your heart. So last question, or last share, I'd say, is okay. There's two more. This just popped up, and I feel like I still have to ask it. If there was a time where you'd be able to write a letter to your younger self, what would you say to your younger self?
If this is my younger self in high school, I'd say get more involved in the community, different programs. Get as involved in the community as you can younger.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and like I don't know, I don't want to say just take more risks because I did. It's part of why I'm at where I'm at. Like, yeah, I say just try to get more involved. Right, I tell my younger self,
Okay,
um,
I
yeah,
love
get more involved.
community, right? And that's the key is community. It takes you need a team essentially to
100%.
build that dream. I don't
Yeah.
believe, no man is an island. And so that's
Mm.
important, right? But you want to choose your community wisely and what's
Yeah.
in alignment with your values, right? So
Yeah.
last but not least, what's your favorite quote and why?
Yeah, it's one of them would be from Dr. Miles Monroe. One thing he says is when the purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. And abuse is just the misuse of something. When you don't know why it was created, you will always misuse it, right? And whether that's in physical things like, I don't know the purpose for the phone, I want to use it as a hammer, or if it's relationships, or if it's your own business, if it's, even health. If you don't know the why something was created, you're not going to use it properly. And yeah, that's probably one quote that's really stuck with me.
I love it. I've never heard that one. Very insightful, very deep. So thanks for sharing. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Daniel. I just
Mhm.
want to give you a chance to provide how do people contact you if they want to stay up to date with role model and as well maybe your insurance needs or your services that you provide. How do they reach you?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as Daniel Lawrence Lopez. So, really, my name on the screen, LAWRANCE hyphen Lopez. Yeah, you find me on the gram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today, Daniel. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll see you again soon at some event or experience, shall we
Mhm.
say, and
Yeah,
keep doing what you're doing. Fully in support of what you're doing and impacting the next generation. So thank you for your time today.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for this opportunity, Tasha. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. Take care. Stay safe. I'll see you on the other side.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it. Leaders, boss queens, boss kings, another episode of the NBR show. I really had a great chat with Daniel, and I really learned quite a bit in terms of just looking deeper within, right? That alignment and how that really plays into your business, your career, your relationships, your health, everything, right? And so just going back to my first point of purpose, I hope you spend some time really digging into why were you born? And a lot of times I get asked this question, well, I don't know, Natasha. I don't really know why I was born. I don't know what purpose I serve. You have to ask your creator. Your creator. Now, who is your creator? Who do you believe your creator to be? Now, for me, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. That has been my foundation growing up. If I did not have that foundation growing up, I would not be where I am today. I don't know where I would be. That has really driven me to want to continue to achieve different levels of success in my business, career wise, financially. I love real estate. I have a few properties there. But what drives you? And for me, it's always been about how can I make a positive impact? How, if it's just putting a smile on one person's face and or preventing somebody from ending their life, then I've done a good job. That's what I serve. That's why I serve. I'm really serving in the area of how can I help you to live your life better? And by better, I mean according to your standards, not by what society says. Because oftentimes we allow society to dictate or define who we should become, how we should live our lives. What is success? Success, success. What is it? So let's define it for ourselves. Let's take that leadership over our life. Let's own our greatness. Let's own the reason why we were born, because we all have something amazing. And I believe the one when you discover your purpose, when you discover your calling, when you discover why you were born or what makes you unique, you don't have time to look at what Sally or Joe is doing. You don't have time to hate. You don't have time to feel sad or sorry for yourself. You only have time to say, how can I become my best version of me? And that is a journey. That's something that you get to. It's not a destination. Like when I get here, I'm going to be proud of saying, I'll be proud every moment of my life. I'll be proud of the fact that I woke up and I did something today that helped me to become a better version of me. So celebrate yourself. The world is changing, expectations are changing, and the pressure is real, super real. And that's why I'm going back to mindset. Stick with keeping a positive mindset. And if you're not sure how to do that, you've been struggling with just having, that energy to think positive even in the negative, I want to work with you. If you're struggling with, I have a great business idea, but I don't know how to do marketing, I don't know anything about PR or communications, I'd love to work with you on creating your strategy, an effective one. Clients who work with me see significant results from a branding, communications, marketing perspective. And that's what I love. I'm really I guess, a people person at heart. I'm a speaker. I love speaking on confidence because confidence is critical to your success. Strategy is critical to your success. Knowing who you are is critical to your success. So feel free to reach out. I do offer a 30-minute free chat at natashabrussell.com. From there, we'll chat a little bit about your goals, your dreams too. What do you want to accomplish? And I'll let you know if I feel like we're a good fit. And if you're not, or if we're not, then I'll advise you to someone who else who is. So feel free. But more importantly, I want to say that you are amazing. And I don't know where you may be watching from, but I want you to know that great things, amazing things take time. You know, I just got married to the love of my life, my soulmate last October, and I felt like I waited for him forever, but he was so worth the wait. And so to all my sisters out there, my queens out there, my kings too, who are waiting on your significant spouse, I want you to enjoy this time alone. Enjoy building yourself up and make sure that when yes, you want a partner, but you're working on you so that that partner is adding value to your life, that you're not looking for just someone to be there for you. Because if you do that, you attract the wrong person. But if you come securely in who you are, you have your stuff together, your life together, you're on track to building a good life for yourself, you'll attract the right person. Super, super important. So, as for announcements, next week is the long weekend, so I won't be here. I'll be back the following on May 30th. I'm excited for that show. I have Steve Cadigan with me. I love his TikTok videos. He's a LinkedIn HR like top of the line expert. He's written a book, probably several books. Keynote speaker. He's doing amazing things in the network, in his community. And I'm excited to chat with him. I'm also beginning to be chatting with Dr. Yvonne. And we're gonna talk about, mental health and wellness, super important. So join me next Monday, the 30th at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will get pumped again with more great insights. Now, if you enjoy watching the show, all I ask, like it and share it. Like it, share it, and if you're on YouTube, of course, please subscribe. I would really appreciate you helping me spread this entrepreneurial message to those around us. And as I wrap up, I'm going to just tune out with some music. Oh, 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 oh my God, I laugh because they're like, why are you so happy? But you gotta be. Life is a gift. So be confident in who you are. Be confident in who you are and in who God created you to be. Be bold enough to own your greatness. But more importantly, be you. Don't let fear stop you from achieving your goals and your dreams. Know who you are. Know who you are. And if you want to be a guest on the NBR show, please reach out to me, Natasha at natashabrussell.com. Tell me a little bit about your business, your entrepreneurial journey, your goal to inspire. I'd love to have you on and connect. So know who you are. Be confident. Be fearless. Be bold. Be you. And remember, we don't walk in fear. We walk in faith. We don't walk in fear. We walk in faith. knowing and trusting and believing that the very best is yet to come. Stay tuned for more because you're great. You just got to believe it to receive it. Bye. You hear those words? Walking in the light, feeling like a man. And when bosses talk, if you in the dark, you may not understand. And I do good in the boss way. Everything I do, good in the boss way.